Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever caught yourself looking at someone else's life and thinking they've got it all figured out? You scroll through social media, see someone getting that promotion, buying that house, or living the life you think you should be living. And in that moment, something inside you whispers, "Why aren't you there yet?" That whisper is dangerous. It feeds on comparison. And comparison is the thief of joy. But here's the truth: you are not behind. You're not too late. You're on your own path, and that path is exactly where you need to be right now. Have you ever scrolled through social media and suddenly felt your mood shift? Maybe it's a picture of someone on a luxurious vacation, a friend announcing their promotion, or someone celebrating a milestone you haven't reached yet. In that moment, you might feel a small, sinking pit in your stomach, a voice in your head that whispers, "Why aren't you there yet?" This voice thrives on comparison, and the more we listen to it, the more it eats away at our happiness. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's a thief that creeps in when we're not paying attention. It robs us quietly, subtly, and yet the damage it leaves behind can be immense. It's not just about feeling momentarily discouraged, it's about losing sight of our own path, our progress, and our unique strengths. The problem with comparison is that it's almost always unfair. When you compare yourself to others, you're rarely seeing the full picture. Social media, for example, often showcases the best and brightest moments of people's lives. You see the vacations, the engagements, the promotions, but you don't see the struggles, the failures, and the quiet nights of self-doubt. You don't see the tears behind the smile or the hard work that went into that moment of success. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel. This distorted view creates a false narrative in your mind that you're not doing enough, that you're falling behind, or that you're somehow less than the people you're watching. And that's when joy begins to slip away. You stop celebrating your own progress because you're too focused on where you think you should be. You lose gratitude for what you have because you're constantly measuring it against what others seem to have. What makes comparison even more destructive is that it often distracts us from our own growth. When you're busy looking sideways at what other people are doing, you're not focusing on your own path. You're not thinking about your unique goals, your progress, or the steps you could be taking to improve your life. Instead, you're stuck in a cycle of envy, frustration, and self-doubt. It's important to recognize that comparison is in many ways rooted in fear. It's the fear of not being enough, the fear that if someone else is succeeding, it somehow means there's less success left for you. But that's not how life works. Someone else's success does not diminish your own potential. There is no shortage of opportunities, love, happiness, or achievement in the world. There's enough for everyone. Still, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking life is a race and that you're falling behind. This mindset can be especially strong when you see people achieving things you want, getting the job you're dreaming of, starting the family you hope for, or living the lifestyle you admire. But life is not a race. It's not about who gets there first or who looks the best while doing it. It's about living your own truth at your own pace and in your own way. The irony is that the very things we admire in others, their confidence, their success, their joy, are often things we can cultivate in ourselves if we stop comparing and start focusing on our own growth. Instead of resenting someone else's accomplishments, we can choose to be inspired by them. Instead of feeling discouraged by someone else's success, we can remind ourselves that their journey is not our journey, and that's okay. When we let go of comparison, we create space for joy to return. We start to notice the things we've accomplished, the progress we've made, and the beauty of our own lives. We begin to appreciate our unique path and trust that we are exactly where we're meant to be, even if it doesn't look exactly like someone else's path. In a world that often celebrates perfection, it can be tempting to hide who you really are. We live in a culture that rewards polished success stories, flawless images, and carefully curated lives. Everywhere you look, there are reminders of what you should be, how you should look, how you should act, and what kind of life you should aspire to create. But the truth is, the most powerful thing you can do is to embrace your authentic self. There is immense power and authenticity, a power that comes not from being perfect, but from being real. Authenticity means showing up as your true self without pretending, performing, or seeking constant validation. It's about embracing your strengths, acknowledging your flaws, and standing in your truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. When you allow yourself to be authentic, you create space for genuine connection, personal growth, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. One of the reasons authenticity is so powerful is that it liberates you from the exhausting task of trying to be someone you're not. When you spend your energy trying to fit into someone else's expectations or live up to an idealized version of yourself, you lose sight of who you really are. You may succeed in pleasing others, but at what cost? Often the cost is your own sense of self-worth. When you choose authenticity, you reclaim that self-worth. You stop basing your value on external validation, on how many likes you get on social media, on whether people approve of your choices, or on whether you meet society's ever-changing standards of success. Instead, you begin to measure your worth based on something deeper, your integrity, your values, and your willingness to live in alignment with who you truly are. Another reason authenticity is so powerful is that it allows you to build deeper and more meaningful connections with others. People are naturally drawn to authenticity because it feels real. When you're authentic, you give others permission to be authentic too. You create an environment where people feel safe to be themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. This kind of connection is rare, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Think about the people in your life who inspire you the most. Chances are, they're not the people who pretend to have it all together or who always put on a show. They're the ones who are willing to be vulnerable, who admit their mistakes, and who share their true thoughts and feelings. These people inspire you because they remind you that it's okay to be human. They show you that you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and respect. Authenticity also plays a key role in personal growth. When you're not afraid to be honest with yourself, you become more open to learning and improving. You stop hiding behind excuses or blaming others for your problems, and you start taking responsibility for your own life. You become more willing to take risks, to try new things, and to step outside your comfort zone because you know that your worth doesn't depend on whether you succeed or fail. Being authentic doesn't mean you have to share every detail of your life with everyone you meet. It doesn't mean you have to be the loudest person in the room or constantly wear your heart on your sleeve. Authenticity is about being true to yourself in a way that feels right for you. It's about speaking your truth even when it's hard. It's about setting boundaries and saying no when you need to. It's about showing up as the real you, not the version of yourself you think others want to see. Of course, authenticity isn't always easy. There will be times when it feels risky, when you worry about being judged or rejected. But it's in those moments of discomfort that authenticity becomes most powerful. Because when you choose to be authentic, even when it's hard, you're telling yourself and the world that you are enough, just as you are. One of the most empowering yet challenging lessons in life is learning to take full responsibility for your own growth. It's easy to blame external circumstances, other people, or even bad luck for the things that aren't going the way you'd hoped. But at some point you realize that the only person truly in charge of your life is you. No one else can do the work for you. No one else can push you toward the version of yourself you're capable of becoming. Taking responsibility for your growth is about owning your choices, your mindset, and your progress, and understanding that growth starts from within. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of conscious effort, self-awareness, and the willingness to step outside your comfort zone. Yet many people wait for external factors to change before they take action. They think I'll be happy when I get that job, or I'll work on myself once things calm down. But waiting for the perfect moment or ideal circumstances is just another form of avoidance. Real growth begins when you stop waiting for things to change and start taking action with what you have right where you are. Taking responsibility for your growth means being honest with yourself about where you are right now. This kind of self-reflection can be uncomfortable because it forces you to confront the areas of your life where you may be falling short. Maybe you've been avoiding difficult conversations, procrastinating on your goals, or holding on to limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck. It's easier to ignore these things than to face them head on, but true growth requires courage. It requires you to look at yourself with honesty and ask, what can I do differently? One of the most powerful shifts that happens when you take responsibility for your growth is that you stop blaming others for your problems. It can be tempting to blame your boss, your family, or your circumstances for why you're not where you want to be. But when you do that, you give away your power. You're essentially saying, I can't change my situation because it's someone else's fault. Taking responsibility means reclaiming that power and realizing that while you may not be able to control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. This shift in mindset is crucial because it puts you back in the driver's seat of your own life. Instead of waiting for someone to come and fix things for you, you start looking for ways to create change on your own. You start setting goals, taking small steps toward them, and holding yourself accountable along the way. You recognize that growth isn't about making huge leaps overnight, it's about consistent, incremental progress over time. Accountability is a key part of this process. When you take responsibility for your growth, you commit to holding yourself accountable for your actions and choices. This means following through on the promises you make to yourself, whether it's sticking to a new habit, showing up for your goals, or making time for self-care. It also means taking ownership when things don't go as planned. Instead of making excuses or blaming others, you reflect on what went wrong and how you can do better next time. Another important aspect of taking responsibility for your growth is cultivating a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and talents can be developed through effort and learning. People with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than as obstacles to avoid. They understand that failure is a natural part of the growth process and that each setback brings valuable lessons. When you take responsibility for your growth, you become more resilient. You stop seeing failure as something to fear and start seeing it as a stepping stone on the path to success. You learn to embrace discomfort because you know that growth often happens outside your comfort zone. Whether it's speaking up in a meeting, pursuing a new skill, or letting go of a toxic relationship, you recognize that every uncomfortable step forward brings you closer to the person you want to become. Taking responsibility for your growth also means prioritizing your well-being. Growth isn't just about achieving external success, it's about becoming a healthier, happier, and more fulfilled version of yourself. This may involve setting boundaries, managing your time more effectively, or making space for activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul. It's about recognizing that your growth is a holistic process that encompasses every aspect of your life. Ultimately, taking responsibility for your growth is one of the most empowering choices you can make. It's a decision to stop waiting for life to happen to you and start creating the life you want, one step at a time. In a world that constantly reminds us of where we should be and what we should have accomplished by now, it's easy to lose focus on our own journey. We see other people reaching milestones, achieving their dreams, and seemingly living the lives we wish we had. When this happens, it's natural to feel frustrated, impatient, or even discouraged. But that frustration often comes from one key issue: you're stepping out of your lane. You're looking at someone else's progress and forgetting that your path is different, and that's okay. Staying in your lane and trusting the process is about focusing on your unique journey at your own pace, without getting distracted by where others are. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to stay in their lane is the constant comparison trap. Social media, conversations with friends, or even casual encounters can trigger feelings of inadequacy when we see someone else achieving something we desire. Whether it's a career promotion, a new relationship, or a lifestyle upgrade, we tend to measure our own success against theirs. But here's the truth: comparison is a distraction, and it will pull you away from your purpose. When you focus on what everyone else is doing, you lose sight of your own progress, and that's when self-doubt starts to creep in. Staying in your lane means recognizing that your journey is valid, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's. It means understanding that life is not a race with a finish line where the first person to cross wins. Life is about growth, learning, and becoming the best version of yourself, and that process takes time. Just because someone else seems to be ahead doesn't mean you're behind. They're on their path and you're on yours. The two paths are not meant to be the same. Trusting the process is a key part of staying in your lane. When you trust the process, you accept that growth and success don't happen overnight. You understand that progress isn't always linear, that there will be ups and downs, moments of uncertainty. But instead of giving up or rushing the process, you learn to embrace the journey. You realize that every step, no matter how small, is taking you closer to your goals. This requires patience, and patience can be hard to practice when you're not seeing immediate results. But growth takes time. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, give it sunlight, and nurture it, but you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust that beneath the surface, things are happening even if you can't see them yet. Your journey is the same. The work you're putting in now may not show results right away, but that doesn't mean it's not working. Trust that your efforts are planting the seeds of your future success. Staying in your lane also means focusing on what you can control. You can't control how fast someone else reaches their goals or what opportunities come their way, but you can control your own actions, mindset, and choices. You can control how you show up for yourself every day, whether it's by working on your goals, practicing self-care, or learning from your mistakes. When you shift your focus away from what others are doing and back to what you can do, you reclaim your power. You stop wasting energy on things that don't serve you and start putting that energy into your own growth. It's important to remember that everyone's timeline is different. Just because you haven't achieved a certain goal yet doesn't mean you won't. Some people find success early in life, while others take longer to reach their full potential, and that's perfectly normal. What matters is that you keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. Another key aspect of staying in your lane is learning to trust yourself. You know your strengths, your values, and your dreams better than anyone else. Trust that you're capable of achieving your goals, even if the path isn't always clear. Trust that you have what it takes to navigate the challenges that come your way. And trust that, even when things don't go as planned, you're still learning, growing, and moving forward. When you stay in your lane, you also give yourself permission to enjoy the journey. It's easy to get so focused on the destination that you forget to appreciate the progress you've already made. But growth isn't just about reaching your goals, it's about who you become along the way. Every challenge, setback, and victory is shaping you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. Staying in your lane doesn't mean ignoring the world around you or pretending that you don't care about what others are doing. It means acknowledging their success without letting it distract you from your own path. It means celebrating your progress even when it feels small, and trusting that the process is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. In the end, life is not about how fast you reach the finish line or how your journey compares to someone else's. It's about staying true to yourself, trusting your unique process, and embracing the lessons along the way. When you let go of comparison, focus on your own lane, and take responsibility for your growth, you unlock the true power of authenticity and self-belief. Every small step you take, every setback you overcome, and every moment of patience you practice is part of the beautiful, imperfect, and meaningful path that is yours alone. Trust that you are enough, your progress matters, and your journey is unfolding exactly as that should.